Hi, I'm Barbara Mendez and I'm a nutritionist and a registered pharmacist, and today we're going to make a bean salad. Typically I make this bean salad with 3 different beans, but today I'm just making it with 2 because it's what I have on hand. And I love this recipe. The reason I love this recipe is that it's easy, it's versatile. You can bring it to your parties so that you have something that you can bring your host as an offering that is also nutritious that you can enjoy while you're there. And the main reason I love this recipe is this is the perfect example of how food can be medicine and medicine can be food. So depression is something that's pretty prevalent in our society. Ask around. You may have plenty of friends in your circle of friends, or perhaps you're affected by this yourself. People with mood disorders, depression is on the rise. Many people are feeling anxious, they're feeling sad, they're not able to cope with their lives. And what we don't realize is that many people are either self-medicating with food or deepening their depression through the foods that they choose to eat. Food has an enormous impact on our brain chemistry, and here's how it happens. We have chemicals in our brain that make us feel good. One of them, the primary one, is serotonin. Serotonin makes us feel calm and happy. So drug companies that are making drugs like Prozac and Zoloft, terms that we're used to hearing, right? We're familiar with these terms. Those drugs help to keep serotonin floating around your system to help you improve upon your mood. However, food has a humongous impact on serotonin, and our thoughts have an enormous impact on serotonin. So every time you go out in the world and you have a single negative thought, or one bad thing happens to you, think about that. A single negative thought depletes serotonin. So you have something happens, or a perception of something happening, and serotonin goes in the gutter. If you do that long enough, day in and day out, serotonin stays really low, and your brain absolutely cannot deal with that. So it starts to go, hey, you know what? Go get those cookies, go get those pretzels, go eat that ice cream, go do something to make me feel better right now, really quickly. Because the fastest way to boost serotonin in the brain is through the consumption of sugar. So we go out there, we have our ice cream, we eat our candy bar, and serotonin goes up really high, really fast, and we immediately feel better. Can you relate to that, right? It's like you feel anxious, you feel stressed, have a candy bar, and you feel completely relaxed for a very short period of time. Because anything that goes up that high that fast is going to come crashing down. Instead, what you want to do, because it is true that carbohydrates feed serotonin levels in our brain, what you want to do if you struggle with depression, if you struggle with anxiety, is to feed your brain on a fairly consistent basis foods that are going to help promote optimal serotonin levels in your brain. And beans are a wonderful way to do that. Not only do they contain complex carbohydrates that help to fuel serotonin production, but they also they contain folic acid, and folic acid is not only good for your brain chemistry, it's also really good for your cardiovascular system, so it helps protect your heart. So today, like I said, we're going to put together a bunch of different ingredients to help boost our brain chemistry, protect our heart, and give us something delicious and nutritious that not only can we enjoy at home, we could bring to our friends and share with them. So I'm going to start with black beans. And black beans are a particular favorite of mine because I am Cuban and I grew up eating these all the time. So a can of black beans, I get organic beans and I drain them of whatever it is, the liquid that they put them in. I rinse them really well to get rid of all of that, and then I drain them again. So I'm going to use that. Black beans, high in folic acid. I'm also going to use chickpeas. So chickpeas, again, I do the same thing. I get organic canned beans. It's about 20 cents more than non-organic beans, and it's just a little bit, you're upping your nutrition whenever you can. Include that in there. Again, I rinse them and I drain them. And then I'm going to add a variety of different chopped vegetables. The vegetables not only provide, again, complex carbohydrates, because carbohydrates are not just potatoes and pasta and sugar, right? Carbohydrates are also vegetables and fruits. So I'm adding more carbohydrates to help boost serotonin production and add to the nutritional value of this dish. So the first thing I'm going to do is add red peppers. So red peppers are loaded in carotenoids, lots of potassium in red peppers, lots of vitamin C in red peppers. So I'm going to add that to my beans. I'm also going to add corn. I'll tell you, this is the one area. Corn and blueberries and nuts are the 3 places that I'll tell people really make sure that you get organic. If you don't get organic, you're likely getting corn that's processed and that's spliced with pesticides and herbicides, which are dangerous for your body. So try to get organic. This happens to be frozen organic corn that I defrosted with a little bit of warm water, drained it, and now it's ready to go. So I'm going to add that as well. Corn is a starch, also again a good booster of serotonin. I'm going to add some red onion. So red onion has sulfur components. Sulfur is great for connective tissue, so it's good for your skin and your hair and your nails and your joints. It's actually a really great nutrient for your circulatory system, so it's good for circulation and helping to prevent the stickiness of blood. So you want to include that in that dish as well. Gives it a nice flavor too. Garlic. Garlic is one of the best foods that you can include in your diet on a fairly regular basis. It has cancer-fighting properties, also prevents the platelet aggregation, the stickiness of blood that accumulates and can cause heart attacks and strokes. So you want to include that. Also has cancer-fighting properties, and of course, anybody that's tasted garlic knows that it tastes amazing. So you want to add that. I have some yellow squash, just good carotenoids in there, not a tremendous amount of nutrients in yellow squash, in yellow zucchini rather, but I like it, I like the color of it. And then I have some carrots. Carrots are loaded in carotenoids as well. Potassium, vitamin C, good for your skin, good for your eyes, good for your liver. So we're going to include that as well. And you want to include a variety of different colors because look how beautiful it's going to get to look, right? Just by the different colors in all of the ingredients. I love this dish, and every time I've made this, I get like new fans on my website because that I make this at a party and I bring it along, because I always bring it along when I go to a party because everybody always loves it, and I always get new people like following me on Twitter after I've made this recipe because they just become fans of it themselves. I put scallions in there. A little bit more of these sulfur component vegetables, delicious. A little bit of sea salt. So again, I got this sea salt in California last year and I just love it. It's pink in color. Let me show you that so you can see what that looks like. It's pink, loaded in minerals, not particularly salty, so delicious. So you need a little bit more than you would need of regular sea salt. A little bit of pepper, we'll add that as well. And then as you see, I have all these delicious, gorgeous herbs because it is the middle of the summer and I am in Long Island and I am surrounded by farms. So I picked these up, and aren't they just beautiful? I want to add them to the dish. So there's basil, oregano, and parsley. But if you happen to be watching this in the dead of winter in the middle of the country where there are no farms, there's probably plenty of farms in the middle of the country. But if you happen to not have fresh herbs, it doesn't matter. Get dried basil, get dried parsley, get dried oregano, throw it in there. It's really about the other ingredients. It's how they all blend together. So I happen to have cut them up already, so I mix them all together and I'm going to add that to my dish. Gives it a gorgeous, gorgeous flavor. Okay, so now I've got my base ingredients. I've got loads of vegetables, I got some beans, I got some sulfur component vegetables, things that just give this a delicious, delicious flavor. And now I'm going to add my dressing. Little bit of olive oil. Get organic olive oil whenever possible, but don't worry if you can't, that's totally fine too. I eyeball everything, so you can just start with what you think is comfortable for you and then decide how you want to move along from there. I would say in a bowl this size, about half a cup of olive oil. I'm using rice wine vinegar because it's what I have on hand, but red wine vinegar is fine. Regular distilled white vinegar, balsamic vinegar, whatever you think you want to add to that or what you have on hand, totally fine. Not an issue. And then I'm going to add some lemon juice, and the lemon juice gives it, preserves it, so it preserves all the vegetables in there so they don't start turning brown. Also really good as a cancer fighter because lemons have things that help prevent cancer. So just eyeballing that, putting that in there and making my dressing. So I'm going to mix it up. Now once you have this, you want to let this sit in the refrigerator for about minimum of 30 minutes, maybe an hour, maximum overnight before you serve it. So if you're having a party the next day, which we actually are having a party tomorrow, you're gonna leave it overnight so that the flavors blend together. And there's a couple of ways that you can serve this. The absolute favorite way, and is the most popular way, and certainly the easiest way, is to get corn chips. My personal favorite is blue corn chips. Just put this out in a beautiful bowl, another bowl of blue corn chips, and you put them in there, and you just like pick them up like you scoop them up like you would scoop up salsa. So that's one way. Another way, if it's just you and another friend, or you and your mate, or whatever, put this beautiful, delicious bean recipe on a plate, and then put a piece of grilled fish on top of it. That combination of a cold bean salad with a piece of grilled fish on top is phenomenal tasting, and the fish likely has those omega-3 essential fatty acids, which are also really good for the brain. So there you have a perfect meal to help improve your mood, help to calm your anxiety, and help you have a gorgeous evening after you've eaten it. So Here we have another wonderful dish, easy to prepare, totally doable in even the busiest lifestyle. And if you want more ideas like this, do check out my website at www.barbaramendeznutrition.com or my blog, rootsandseeds.com. And please follow me on Twitter and Facebook. I'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks for checking in, and I'll see you next time.